Hello friends, and here is the next compilation of interesting urban news from around the world. By the way, for some of them I am very grateful to my subscribers, so if you have something interesting happening in your city in urban development, please feel free to drop me a line and we'll discuss it in the next episodes. And of course, don't forget to leave your comments and share this video, as well as subscribe to the channel. In Brazil was announced the winner of the tender for launching a rail link between São Paulo and Campinas. The winner is a collaborative proposal by the Brazilian company Comporte Participações in partnership with the Chinese concern CRRC, which was the only bidder. Now these companies have to provide high-speed rail service between São Paulo and Campinas. The total length of the line is 101 km and it is currently used only by freight trains. The project will be implemented as a concession for 30 years, and during this time the companies involved will be responsible for the service and receive profits from the ticket sales. On top of that, it is also planned to build a railway station in Campinas. The total cost of the project is estimated at almost $3 billion, with the state government paying $1.82 billion. It is expected that the trains will cover the distance in 64 minutes, with a maximum speed of 140 km per hour and capacity of 860 passengers. Important thing is that passenger trains are to have separate tracks built, so slow freight trains will not interfere with them. The operation is scheduled to start in 2031. Nigeria's largest city, Lagos, has launched the first part of the city's railway Red Line, which began construction in 2021. The first phase of the Red Line runs 26.3 kilometers from Egbedo to Oyingbo with 8 stations. The second phase is to extend it by another 11 kilometers to Marina on the Blue Line, which opened in September. The line operates 2 Talgo trains and 2 diesel locomotives supplied by the American company NRE. Notably, these trains were originally ordered by the state of Wisconsin in 2009 for use on the Chicago-Milwaukee line, but were never put into service in the United States. And in the future, trains are planned to be purchased from China. Once completed, the line is expected to reduce travel time between Egbedo and the city center from 2.5 hours to about 35 minutes. And passenger traffic should reach 500,000 daily passengers initially and 750,000 later. In total, the transport plan for Lagos includes 6 railway lines as well as a monorail.
Oh boy, here we go.
14 bus rapid transit corridors, more than 20 water routes, and an extensive road network. Well, in general, the launch of a city railway for such a huge city is a great thing, but I'm a little bit concerned about the suitability of the trains that were planned as an intercity ones. Although this is probably the case when something is better than nothing at all. By the way, how did it happen that trains from the US ended up in Nigeria? The state of Wisconsin ordered these trains back in 2009 and Talgo assembled them at a factory in Milwaukee. But in 2010, the newly elected governor Scott Walker rejected an $823 million federal grant to build a line to Madison and project a line to Minneapolis. At the same time, the state was obligated to pay for the trains ordered by the previous governor Jim Doyle. But instead of investing in a maintenance facility to put the train sets into use on the existing line, Walker and the Republican-controlled Wisconsin legislature defaulted on the contract. When the trains were completed in 2012, Talgo went to court. Eventually, Wisconsin settled with a Talgo, costing the state $59 million and allowing the Spanish company to retain ownership of the trains. In January 2022, the trains were bought by the Lagos Transportation Authority, and in September of that year, they were taken to Lagos by ship, and you know the rest. Well, maybe someone in the comments could explain me.
What the fuck was that?
In the city of Santa Ana, California, there is a streetcar line under construction between Santa Ana and Garden Grove. The total length of the line is 6.7 kilometers. There should be 10 stops and trams will run with a 10 to 15 minutes headways. And the total cost of the project is currently estimated at $500 million. Oh wait, let me check. Yep, that's what it says here. 500 million. And that means 74.6 million per kilometer. And that's for a streetcar that shares the lane with the cars. Since the work started, the price increased by 100 million and the opening date was shifted from 2022 to 2025. Well, the tram is a good thing, but for such a money it should have a dedicated lanes. And still it's way overpriced. The Canadian city of Winnipeg has decided to allow pedestrians to cross the street on the surface instead of repairing the underpass. Winnipeg Mayor Scott Gillingham decided to reopen the Portage and Main crossing to pedestrians after it was reported that repairing the existing underpass would cost 73 million and cause 4 to 5 years of traffic delays caused by construction works. This underpass was built in 1979 and since then pedestrians have not been able to cross the street on the surface. Now, municipality admits that 73 million is a significant cost, most of which is related to keeping the underpass in working condition. Out of this amount, 29 million is needed to excavate and replace the membrane that protects the pedestrian crossing from the weather. 13 million for water and sewer pipes and another 13 million for new paving, trees and retaining walls. And this is not a one-time solution, cause even if the new membrane will have a service life of about 40 years, this work will need to be repeated in the future. In general, underpasses in the city are a very bad idea. They greatly reduce the inclusiveness of the environment and make the streets inaccessible for disabled people. So it is great that Winnipeg will once again allow pedestrians to cross the street without going underground. Although it's a bit disappointing that the only argument was the cost of repairs and not a word was said about the needs of disabled. I hope that the fact that this wasn't mentioned doesn't mean that the Winnipeg authorities don't think about it at all. The Moroccan city of Casablanca has launched 2 new bus lines based on BRT standards. The lines will be served by 40 articulated buses 21 meters long and capable of carrying up to 196 passengers. Both new lines are about 12 kilometers long and will connect remote urban neighborhoods with tram lines which they will intersect at several transfer hubs. Construction of these 2 lines cost the city 1.87 billion dirhams, which is about $190 million. And in total, since 2014, the city has invested in public transport development around $1.6 billion. By the way, in terms of trams, Moroccan city have very close cooperation with France, so their tram systems are the most advanced on the continent. Casablanca's tram system now consists of 2 lines and 2 more are under construction and planned to be launched this year. And I should definitely talk about it as soon as it happens. The Czech capital Prague has launched a new trolleybus line between Veleslavin train station and Václav Havel airport to replace the former bus route. The line will be served by 20 units of 3-section Škoda Solaris trolleybuses with a length of 24 meters and autonomous operation. Compared to the former bus route, the trolleybus line has a 30% higher capacity with the same schedule. The replacement of buses with the trolleybuses will save more than 650,000 liters of diesel fuel annually and reduce CO2 emissions by about 1,300 tons. For this line, the city laid 11.5 kilometers of overhead wires, which was financed by the European Union. In the future, Prague plans to gradually switch 14 more bus routes to trolleybuses, which will require laying of 95 kilometers of the new overhead wires. Previously, Prague used trolleybuses from 1936 to 1972, but rejected them in favor of diesel buses. So the current process of returning trolleybuses to the city, which began in 2017, is essentially correcting mistakes of the past. And that's all the news for today. Hope you enjoyed this episode. Thanks for watching and see you in the next videos.